And we got it. Welcome to Corporals Corner. Today we have part 2 of Improvised solar ignition, so stick around. In our last discussion about improvised solar ignition, we talked about having at least 3 different types of fire starting methods in your kit at all times, and that one of those methods should be some type of magnifying glass or sun lens. And other simple and effective methods could be something like multiple Bic lighters or even a ferrocerium rod. Now, we also talked about carrying a magnifying lens or sun lens that has at least 5 times the magnification, and what I do, I'll store it in some sort of soft pouch, and I'll store it away from the rest of my gear. That way it won't become damaged or scratched. Now, let's do a quick recap on how a magnifying lens works, and then we'll get into the cool stuff. The sun rays pass through a convex lens and are concentrated into a small area, which ends up producing heat and ultimately combustion. Then from this point right here, all you got to do is transfer this to a Tinder bundle or bird's nest, and you'll be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and pause right here. I want to answer a question. I received several messages from subscribers asking me what Tinder did I use when I used my sun lens or magnifying glass. And that plant happens to be called Mugwort. And I don't want to say it's an invasive species, but in a way it is, because it likes to grow in drainage ditches or wash beds where it has full view of the sun and access to water. Some people say it can be used to season meat, or the ancient people use that, but it is poisonous if ingested in large quantities. But the one good thing about it is the green leaves have real soft fibers on them, like hairs. And not to confuse that with stinging nettle, these hairs are like really soft like velvet, kind of like how mullein is. And what happens is you can take those green leaves and smash them up, and they contain insecticidal properties, meaning that will keep bugs away. But the good thing about the hairs or fibers is that even when it's dead, the hairs stay on there. So you can take the dead leaves and you can roll them into a shape like a ball or a cigar, and then once it takes an ember, or in this case solar ignition, you can transport that like a cattail over a distance to a fire, or just take that ball or cigar shape and place it inside of a tinder bundle or bird's nest, and you're good to go. Now, looking out here in front of me is a typical drainage ditch or a wash bed, and just looking down here I can recognize some seep willow or mule fat from our hand drill video. It's over here on the left, and you can see the straight pieces of wood there that can be used for a hand drill. Let's back out. And then between these 2 trees over here, I'll show you the mugwort. And there's your mugwort right there. That's where I'm going. Here's your typical mugwort. This is what we were looking at from the top of that wash. Check out the leaves, the backside is white. Now I'll focus in on this and you'll see the tiny fibers or hairs I was talking about. Once the mugwort dies, this is what you get. This is the leftovers right here. And this is exactly what you want. So all you want to do, collect all the leaves up just like this. So like I mentioned earlier, you can roll them into a ball or a cigar shape. Even in a dry state, you can still see all the fibers that remain, which allow it to retain the shape. Before we get started, we want to go ahead and make some char cloth. Now to do this, you want to find 100% cotton, and then you want to cut it into small squares, just like that. Place it inside of your container, and then go ahead and pop a hole in the side of that container as well as your lid, and then place it over your coals, or in this case, your stove. As your char material heats up, gas will escape from that hole, and sometimes a flame is produced. Once that flame is extinguished and the gas stops escaping through that hole, go and remove it from the heat and let it cool down to the touch. It's very important that you do not open that container until it's completely cool. Any oxygen entering that container will destroy your char cloth. And the beauty of char cloth is that it will take the weakest spark, anywhere between 600 and 800 degrees Fahrenheit. But it will hold a very hot ember, which will allow you to transfer it to a bird's nest or tinder bundle. Now that you can identify mugwort as a tinder source and make char cloth or char material, let's go ahead and get to some more improvised solar ignition methods. Enjoy. The first method I want to show you is a simple magnifying mirror. This one happens to be 20 times the magnification. If you look at the lens, it's sort of concave. It resembles a parabolic lens, but it's not as deep, which makes it excellent for magnification as well as fire starting. So a quick demonstration on how this works. Aim your magnifying mirror towards the sun, which will allow you to signal, but the closer you get, just like a magnifying glass, the hotter it's going to be. Yeah, it's pretty hot. So taking my char cloth, I'm going to focus those rays of the sun on the very tip. And we got it. Next, we have a pair of reading glasses. These are just common glasses. Pick them up at Walmart for $3. They got plastic lenses, and you can already see down there. It focuses light the same way. The lenses are slightly convex. That's all I'm going to do. Focus that sunbeam. Concentrate those rays. And there we go. Here's an ordinary 2-liter bottle. It's filled it full of water, just like our light bulb in our previous video. Got our char cloth. Same principle. Concentrate those beams, and you can see it's that quick. This next method here is kind of difficult. I'm taking my aluminum foil and I'm going to try to form a concave shape that resembles a parabolic lens. And I don't want it too deep. So I'm going to have to fight with it a little bit and try to manipulate this foil around this bottle. And you can go multiple layers on this, because the thicker it is, the stronger it's going to be. And the char cloth is lit. Here's an old clip from about 2 or 3 years ago, where I'm using a highly polished soup spoon to get combustion on char cloth. The soup spoon is concave. You see the smoke right there? The sun rays work its way down and ignite the char cloth. Outstanding. And once again, that can be transferred into a tinder bundle or bird's nest. Here's another old school video where we get solar ignition using the ordinary household condom. The idea is exactly the same as the 2-liter bottle. Fill it full of water, manipulate it around, concentrate that beam of light onto your target. In this case, it's char cloth. And boom, solar ignition using the household condom. Now that's hard to see, but if you look close, you can actually see small wisps of smoke coming off of it. So from here, just add some oxygen and you should be good to go. Welcome back, that was good to go. Keep in mind, all the methods you saw today, as well as my previous video, are improvised methods, nothing more. You should carry at least 3 different types of fire starting methods in your kit at all times, and one of those methods should be some type of solar ignition, meaning magnifying glass or sun lens. Why? Because it operates off of a renewable resource, the sun, and unless the world ends, it's always going to be there. Thank you for your comments, views, support. Thanks for watching. Get out in the field to have some fun, and I'll catch you next time.